Okay, in this video I'm going to walk you through the entire setup process of the Meilong 4. You can actually do this entire setup process to any 4x4, but I think the Meilong 4 is the best 4x4 that doesn't have a factory magnetized counterpart, and it's also quite a cheap 4x4, so it's the most likely cube that you'll be doing this whole magnetization setup to. So for the magnets, I have 24 4x2 magnets, and I believe these are N35. You must have enough to magnetize half of a 3x3. And for the other type of magnet, it's the 4x1 magnets. You need 72 of these, which is enough to magnetize 1.5 3x3s. And for this one, I'm not exactly sure what the exact strength is. Alternatively, if you don't want like a 1.5 and a 0.5 number, you can try to have 48, which is like one 3x3's worth of 4x1s, and then also one 3x3's worth of 4x1.5s. But the thing is, I don't have access to 1.5, like 4x1.5 magnets, so I'm going to mix the outer layers. Kelvins high viscosity lube, which is like more or less what is sold in cubicles. You can use any lube you like actually, as long as it's silicone, and personally I prefer higher viscosities. This is an army knife, but I'm using it here just purely for the screwdriver. And finally, of course, you need super glue so that you can glue the magnets into your cube. So firstly, your cube might actually come quite tight out of the box, such as it's close to impossible to actually pluck out a piece. So this is when you loosen the cube a bit. So at this point I've disassembled the first corner chunk, and what I recommend doing here is just to put this whole cube aside. So I recommend focusing on one corner group at a time and not doing the whole cube at once. Okay, the first type of piece that we have here is the center, which we are not interested in, so I'm just going to dump them inside the box. Next thing we're going to do is split the corners and the edges. At this point, there are three types of pieces that you need to pay attention to: corner, the male edge, the female edge. The first step here is, in order to prevent yourself from messing up the polarities, what you do is you just, since you don't really need to use your screwdriver anymore, or you can just take any other magnetic object, put it on the right side of the table like that, and then, or you can, actually I recommend putting it a bit further away, but I want it to be in the camera just for this demonstration. But what happens here is that you are going to slide the magnets into the piece like that, and you're only going to be doing it in one direction. So in order not to do it like that and mess the polarities, whenever you're not using the magnets, you're going to stick it to your magnetic object like that, and the big magnets will always face this way. They will never face this way. I'm going to put super glue on the corner like that, and then on the male edge, this side faces the corner, this side faces the female edge. So on the side that faces the female edge, you also add super glue here. So the next step is to pick up your entire lineup of magnets, but don't rotate it around, just keep it such that the small magnets always facing this way. And then you slide it into your corner like this. And let it stay, so you can just pull it out. Put it aside. And likewise do the same to the male edge. Like this. And then you pull it out. And then you just wait for a while and let the glue dry. After that, you use your super glue, and then you put some glue inside the inner surface of the female edge, like that. Then you grab a small magnet from the top, put the two edges very close to each other, and let the magnet snap into its position. And then finally, you add the glue on the outer surface of the male edge. After that, you grab your stack of magnets, and from the end with the big magnets, you pluck out one of the big magnets and then you stick it back such that you always face this direction and you will never mess it up. And then you line up the three pieces and put the big magnet on the outer surface of the male edge. You will snap in according to the corner, but make sure you put your finger in a way such that it will not stick to the other magnet here, and this is the trickiest part of the whole magnetization. So once you're done doing this set, you can more or less magnetize all the other sets the same way, and you can try magnetizing 2 or 3 sets at a time if you're good at it. Okay, so now we are going to assemble the cube, and I do have an opinion of what's the optimal way to assemble a 4x4, and personally I have much more experience assembling 4x4s than any other WCA puzzle. I've assembled many more 4x4s than 3x3s, like since the Sheng Shui era, and if you want to look at my cube collection now, like I actually have more 4x4s than any other puzzle as well. I think I have about 9 4x4s. But right now what I did here was I put some lube on the core, like that. So the XB alignment mechanism is made of a circle and a square. The circle will not move and the square will twist. So you put some lube on the underside of that circle and then you stick the square on top like that. So now I've done 2 adjacent sides. I'm going to do a third side and make sure it's like the 3 of them are all adjacent to each other. You don't want 2 opposites. And then you just add some more. The next step is to take one big internal piece and one small internal piece and hold them together like this. Then you grab your core and slot it in like that. Then actually what you do next is you slightly twist, while holding these 3 pieces together, you twist it slightly out of the way. Then you take a small internal piece and try to sit it on top of that big internal piece, and then now you grab that whole group of edges with your finger. Then you lift this piece up and you push this whole set of pieces in like that. Next you twist one of those centers slightly out of the way. Put a big internal piece here. Then you take a small internal piece and slide it underneath this arm here. And then you twist it in. Then you take this piece and from this angle you slide it in. And you may risk breaking your first set of pieces, but just try again. This is like the hardest thing to do in most even cubes. The next step is to take a center and put it in like that. And since the cube is magnetic, it's going to be quite easy to do this. You can just take these 3 and dump them all in at the same time. Then you grab 2 corresponding centers. And okay, this part is, you have to be very careful. Make sure everything is properly aligned and use your fingers to press against the side, like this. And once it's properly aligned, take the edge and then you snap it in like that. Then with this big internal piece, you put it here. Then you grab 2 small internal pieces, you go down like that. And okay, because this is the last piece, you have to hold this side and the other side so that pieces don't fly out. And then you insert this piece in. The next step is just to pick one of the neighboring center pieces and apply some lube underneath the circular part, like this. After that, you lift this piece up here and just twist it around. And after a while, you should just stick. Then you grab a big internal, hold it in its place, and it's basically the same process over again. When you're done with 2 corners, then you loop one of these the same way as how you would loop all the other rings. Assemble the 2 pieces together at the same time to make it faster. So at this point, 3/4 of the cube is done, and we are going to assemble the bottom one first, then the top one. But what I recommend doing is we are going to loop the cube when assembling the second last corner group, because when you do the last group, you will have to force pieces into the cube with a bit more force, and you may accidentally touch the internal parts of the pieces and lose some of your loop. Okay, so how you go about doing this is you must think of the mechanism as a line that cuts the cube into its individual pieces. So you don't think about mechanism as pieces, you think about mechanism as lines. So, okay, probably this red is not the easiest color to see, so I'm going to choose the white one. So you can kind of see the line here, and the line there. So the first thing we are going to do is we're going to loop the inside line. And okay, for the case of the Meilong 4, since this side is hollow, it's not going to be very fruitful to loop here, so we're going to loop on this side. So you can see the inside line here that faces the edge. This whole line is now full of loop. And next we're going to loop the outside line, which is alongside the corner. So you can just ignore the edge and just loop along the corner like that. Okay, so for the last set of pieces, what you do is you put your corner in, and you grab an edge and you stuff it underneath the corner like that. Then you grab two centers, one here and the other one here. Then you grab the last center and put it on top, and you twist the top layer slightly, and then you insert the edge like that. And then for this one, you can just rotate your cube like that, and you can do it from the exact same angle that you're comfortable with. So right now, the cube should be a lot, like on some faces it's a lot gummier, and so you just do some soles and then spread the loop around. So the final step is to tension your puzzle. So what you can do here, let's say green and blue, I pull them, and green seems to be pulling a bit further away than blue, so I flip the cube around, and because it could be one hand is applying more force, so to be consistent, you can see that now blue is pulling a bit further, so it just means that my left hand is applying slightly more force than my right hand, and the two faces should be about equal, so I will not care about green and blue. I'll move on to another side of faces, white and yellow. And for red and orange, the two are about equal. And okay, here red is a bit more, and I'm going to try it again. And yes, red is a little bit more, so it means that I need to tighten red slightly. So using this method, you should be able to make the tensions as equal as you possibly can on like every opposite pair of faces. Then after that, now you compare two. Like for example, you compare green and blue, they pull out about this much. Then you compare it with red and orange, and they pull out about, I would say red and orange is actually pulling out a little bit more than green and blue. So you either loosen green and blue or tighten red and orange. In this case, I'm going to loosen green and blue. And as you continue to play your cube, just do this tensioning like exercise over and over again, and you should get closer and closer to getting the whole cube nicely tensioned. Another final thing I want to talk about is breaking in. So this is the old one that I've done and made a review about, and I would say it's still a lot faster and a lot smoother and much nicer to turn than the new one that I made. Use the cube a bit more, it should smooth it out a little bit and also speed up a little bit as the loop starts to spread out even more throughout the cube. And I think eventually you'll reach a stage where your Meilong 4 will be as nice as this one.